Hello, welcome to Ladies of Another View on Beck. Excuse me, already I'm carboned up, I think. We have a great program ahead of us today. I like to call today, instead of Thursday, it's Thursday, first of all. I thought, you know, we're running into spring, so I got to get some of this stuff out and wear it. But anyway, today we are joined by Jan, and then Father Joshua Waltz, and Dr. David Fleischacker. They are with the St. Joseph's Parish over in Mandan. And we're going to talk a little bit about Montessori schooling and what that's all about. So why don't we just kind of jump right into it? Father, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on at St. Joe's?
Well, we had a kind of a vision. It was Father Nick Schneider actually up at Christ the King, and I was with him for many years as vocation director. I was living up there, and as he was kind of turning his school, because it was kind of on the decline, and came up with this, what people are calling a new, kind of method of teaching, but it's not new. It's quite old, and it's the Montessori style of education, which is a much more hands-on approach. It's much more being able to have they don't even call it a classroom, they call it an environment, because the environment is, we want to provide the best environment for children to live in and to learn. And so they're big classrooms. They're really open. There's a lot of materials all over the place. They don't call them a teacher, they call them a guide, because we're guiding the child. A lot of the times, and parents know this, a child knows a lot better what it wants than you do. Even though you're trying and trying and trying. And one of the things is with Montessori education is to let the child lead. You'll see this a lot. A child will be doing something and the parent just gets frustrated and just does it for them, which is not helping the child, right?
True.
You got to let the child kind of work at it and work through it and get frustrated. And then when they figure it out, there's this certain sense of accomplishment, and they learn to have a deeper love for learning, which is if you ever want to, the best way to explain it is to watch it. Like, you need to come and see it.
Could we sometime come over and maybe do a show from over there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or is there might be some privacy rules too. Maybe get it approved through the parents of
Yep,
whatever.
absolutely. But anybody that's watching, if you want to come and just see it, you just call the parish office and they'll direct you to the school, and you set up what's called an observation. And basically you come into the room and you sit and you just watch. The children, for the most part, just leave you alone. They're busy about their work. And you can kind of just see how the whole thing flows. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
So how, because my kids did go to Christ the King, by the way, but how do kids then learn 2 + 2 = 4? Because the way it's explained to me is they are given this environment and they just go from activity to activity to activity, but where does the structure come from, or how does that work?
Yeah, I'm going to let our principal explain that.
Yeah, he's the principal over at St. Joe's.
There's a lot of different ways. In the case of mathematics, there's a whole section in the room that's filled with different kinds of math materials. And when they're 3 and 4 years old, what it is, it's very tactile kinds of stuff. So it's beads. They'll count beads, for example, or they'll string them out. And these beads are grouped in different ways, like grouped by 10s and 9s and 8s, and they can fold them over and they can see how it can form into squares or into cubes or things like that. And then there's some other materials that are more geometric kind of shapes and that. So they learn things in a very tactile way. As they get older and move into the lower elementary, which is 1st through 3rd grade, then they start learning the numeric kind of the value of the different beads. So they start moving more, they call it more abstract, kind of into an abstract mode from there, which is what we think of when we think of math, where we actually write down 1 + 2 = 3 or something like that. They start moving to that in it, but by then they've already got it in a very tactile way, and so math becomes very easy for them as they get older, and that leads on to they're already even beginning to do algebraic stuff when they get up into the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and different kinds of. Fractions actually begins earlier too. So all of those things that they usually learn in what we'd call upper elementary, they're already learning in a very tactile way when they're young. And so it's actually quite easy when they get older.
Almost like mini engineering.
Right, and one of the things that's really neat, is you'll see, especially in Children's House, which is what we call our pre-K, is everything is it's very, as you say, tactile, it's very tangible, you're engaging all the senses. So it's not just like writing, it's like even the letters have sandpaper on them. So when the child traces the letter, they can feel the outline of the letter. Yeah. And then they also have, as they're tracing it, they're saying the sound. So they're seeing it, they're touching it, they're speaking it. So it's engaging the mind in numerous different ways, which children, one of the things I was always fascinated by Maria Montessori is that she said, a child learns more from 0 to 6 than they do for the most of the rest of their life. That 0 to 6 period is like fundamental for forming the child's mind, for forming morality, for forming language concepts, all that stuff. Because when a baby's born, it has all of the synapses, everything, and then as it learns, it either, hardwires those or they kind of drop away. The funny part that I always find is, when do we start really educating as a society? 7 years old, right? So those first 6 years, we've just kind of pushed to the side and said, they're children, they just want to play. And that's not true. They want to learn, and they want to, and the capacity for learning is like endless for children at that age.
So,
Go
go ahead. I'd always heard that Montessori was for early education in grade school, but that's not necessarily so, is it?
No, I think that's because most of the places, if you look around in that, most of the places you'd see that are Montessori are preschool, 3 to 6 years old, or 3 to 5 years old.
Daycare type stuff.
Yeah, they're almost set up as daycares. But if you look around the world or around the country, and at Montessori herself, she wrote pieces all the way up through college and the university.
Wow.
So some of the first sort of high school level groups were up in Northern Europe and in England. And there were some in the United States that started on earlier too.
Sure. I want to go to a video. This is, I don't know that it's Montessori or not, but it is amazing. And you guys won't be able to hear it, but our viewers sure will. Take a look at this, and it's about a kindergarten class that's all hands-on.
These days, kids need small dosage of danger. They need to tumble sometime. They need to get some injury that makes them learn how to live in this world. Point is, don't control them, don't protect them too much. This kindergarten is completely open. Children were supposed to be outside, so that is how we should treat them. We wanted to see children on top of the roof, not only underneath the roof. There are some trees in the classroom. There are 3 trees popping through. Sometimes 40 children are on the tree. They fall into the net. And he's trying to see if it is safe to jump off. And this is how they divide the classrooms. They were supposed to help teachers. They don't. This kindergarten is completely open most of the year. There is no boundary between inside and outside. Basically, this architecture is roof. So there is no acoustic barrier at all. When you put many children in a quiet box, some of them get really nervous. And in this kindergarten, these children show amazing concentration in the class. This drawing is showing the movement of boy between 9 to 9. These children have the highest athletic abilities amongst many kindergartens. Architecture is capable of changing this world.
Well, that's a fantastic video, but we're going to take a quick break right now. So watch these messages and stick around. We're going to talk a little bit more about that right after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Back.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
Pub 21, your one stop for fun, drinks, and food. Our spacious facility provides COVID-safe fun for you and all your friends. With nightly bingo and specials, you can be sure there's something to do for everyone. If you're staying in for the night, we've got you covered just across the way with Pub 21 Liquor. We have a wide variety of options, from wine to whiskey and everything in between. Stop in today at 1014 South 12th Street in Bismarck to see what all the buzz is about. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. Before the break, we were watching that video with that Asian school. And like I said, I'm not sure that it's Montessori, but I'm guessing it's kind of along the same lines that children just kind of learn by doing, per se. You know, I understand that Mandan has a big announcement. What is that announcement?
Well, we started an adolescent program, so like a junior high last year, that's Montessori based. And we over the course of this year, we just had a lot of feedback on it, and a lot of people have asking, will you continue this? So we sent out a big survey, and we got an overwhelming response from that survey, and itself was kind of shocking because surveys don't always draw a lot of response, but asking for us to continue it. So we decided the fall of 2021 that we're going to open a high school, a Montessori-based high school, which there's only a handful of Catholic-based Montessori high schools in the nation. And we have.
Tell us how that works. What is a Catholic Montessori? Because when I think of Catholic school, I don't think of Montessori. I think of very rigid and strict. So explain that a little bit.
Yeah, at the sort of the junior high level, the 7th through 9th grade, which we've been running this last year, the general Montessori's general point there was to get them out into usually a ranch or something along those lines, where they work and they learn together side by side, with right in the same environment. And so they do. There's a lot more. You know, right when they hit adolescence, their brain undergoes massive changes. Their bodies are changing. Everything's kind of gone haywire in their world. And so you don't want to just sit them down at a desk with a bunch of assignments each day. What you want them to do is get out and start reintegrating their bodies, their friendships, their relationships with each other, and how they've understood the world thus far. And so they've got to get out in the world in different ways. And so what we've got is on once a week they go out to a farm. They set up their own businesses. They're actually designing a museum which is designed to open up to them the importance of memory and tradition in their own lives.
Which we need really bad right now with cancel culture.
Yeah, it's the whole thing with memory and tradition is one of the things that I've been talking to other Montessori and other friends of mine that is really missing right now, because people don't know even who their grandparents were, or how their grandparents grew up, or how they met, or where was their faith life? Did they lose their faith at some time? Did they regain it? Did they struggle with it? They don't know anything about any of that. So their whole past is gone, so it's real easy to topple over statues without knowing anything about them. So I think that the museum piece of it is a really important part as well. And those are all kind of long-term projects that they do, where they integrate all the different disciplines: mathematics, writing. They learn how to present and speak during these things. They learn how to coordinate with each other on these projects and learn how to work together. So there's a lot of different pieces that they really thirst for at that age, because again, they're entering into adulthood. Right around age 15 or so is when things shift into the high school level. And then what we do is we get them back down into doing a lot more hardcore research and writing. We're going to be showing them how to take notes so they can learn. A lot of kids, when they get off to college, don't know how to take notes even. How to listen to somebody and pick out the right words. And we're going to be introducing them to a lot of different subjects that will prepare them both for the work world or college if they want to go off to college.
Wow. And so I know, I know it's a Catholic school, but Montessori, a lot of people don't think Catholic and Montessori are the same, but it was actually founded by a Catholic, is that right?
Yeah, Maria Montessori was, a lot of her original insights into how to educate children came from the Mass, from the prayer, and from worshiping God. And so they had, she was just watching children, especially in Italy, how do they learn these things? Yeah. And she took some of those ideas and realized they have to have a very sensory-rich experience. They have to be moving, they have to be touching. You learn through all your senses. You don't learn through just reading or through just looking. You learn through all your senses, and so you have to make use of all of that in education. And so she started seeing all the different things she could create for them to help them learn faster and easier through their senses. And that's how it sprung off of. And she did it largely, I mean, she had her own development of her own faith throughout her life. It grew deeper as she got older, and she had some little conversions along the way. But as she got older, her faith came to take a highlight in her life. And there was actually many converts to the faith because of her in Europe. And then as it moved out into different parts of the world, it took on different characteristics. In America, she was invited by the Rockefellers to come to the United States. She's offered a couple $1 million in, I think it was 1917.
That's a lot of money.
Back then, in that day. And she turned it down. She said, this has to go to the third world. That's where they need it.
Maybe we could tap into that money and help build a school over there.
Talk to the Rockefellers again?
Yeah, it'd be nice if they tap. Well, they did fund, as I understand, they actually funded it with a bunch of other groups, some of the Montessori movements that began in the United States without her being present. And so a lot of the Montessori movements in the United States grew up without her, you might say. Oversight.
So there's a lot of folks that are going to hear this and say, wow, I would love this for my child. But they didn't start out in Montessori.
Right.
And now they're junior high or high school age. How does someone transition into that type of learning environment?
Well, we're piecing that together. There's a lot of different dimensions to that. It depends a lot on the child. So some children will click in with it right away, because you get a lot more freedom when you're in a Montessori environment. Part of it is they get 3-hour blocks of time to work, and they get lessons during that on, let's say, mathematics or on English or in Spanish. We have Latin, French. They get lessons on these, and then they have to work together on different projects. And if they're not used to that, it takes a while to help them transition into that. Some of them, for whatever reason, they just click right in and they're in. Other ones, you have to work with them for some time to get them to see the real goodness of that. And how to use their freedom that way. They just aren't used to it.
Sure. And we have less than 2 minutes of this segment. It always flies. Yes. But do you have to be Catholic to attend this school? Or tell me how the religious side of it, because it is a Catholic school per se.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, when we first switched, they were saying, I'm not Catholic, and you guys are, saying that they have to go to Catholic education and they have to go to catechesis, and what we call catechesis of the Good Shepherd, which is the religious education portion. Which they go to once a week for 2 hours. And the way the whole catechesis is set up is you can tailor that to many different faiths. And so the Catholic kids are going to get, very sacramental, liturgical, scriptural. The Protestant kids, we can move more towards just covering the stories of the Bible, the parables, all that kind of stuff. But they're in the same environment, and so they don't feel excluded. and yet, so they feel included, but they also feel kind of part of the family. One of the big things that we decided when we started this whole thing is kind of our motto was reclaiming the heart of the family. Because we've just lost the family.
Right, yes.
On so many levels. And a lot of the kids coming in don't have intact families or don't have families that are, both parents are working. And so to try to build that family environment, because that's where the child thrives. We know that. That's just part of human nature.
Sure. All right, well, we just have a few seconds left here, but I want to thank you both for coming. And I understand you're going to stick around a little bit and talk about education in general.
I got
and what's
more
going
opinions.
On. Yes, and but Doctor, we do appreciate you coming through. And if there's anything we can do to help you guys, we're right behind you. We're all different faiths.
Just come and see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, come and see. Thanks.
Okay, and with that, we'll be right back after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Beck Communications is hiring. Beck Communications is seeking qualified candidates for plant technicians in our Wheatland, North Dakota location. Beck Communications is an equal opportunity employer. To view the job details, visit www.beck.coop. To apply, email your cover letter and resume to careers@bechtel.coop. Beck Communications, making connections that matter.
Ever been in a cave before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the car!
How will we?
The car! Your offer has been accepted. Ever bought a house before?
It's our first time.
All right.
Where are you going?
I'll see you at the closing.
But how will we?
The closing!
The experienced professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless, and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We have Carmen joining us for the for the rest of the show. Unfortunately, we only have room for 4 people, and so it kind of gets awkward hopping in and out. But we want to make sure that our guests get every opportunity to talk.
We'll make it happen.
And it was great. So it was nice to hear about the school and about Montessori. And I think just in general right now, education is suffering in a sense where even, I hate to bring it up, but COVID has made a big deal in this last year with kids. Have you seen, because I know you talk to parishioners, you talk to kids, you talk to parents, have you noticed depression amongst kids or anything, any changes because of this lockdown?
Yeah, you know, I mean, our kids were, we were fortunate because we kind of remained in session and went the whole time in class.
Now, was that your choice because it's a private school?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that was very helpful, and the parents were very grateful. I remember I had one parent call me, and she's like, "I just want to know one thing," and I was like, "Oh boy,
here it comes."
And she's like, "Are we going to be in person or virtual?" And I'm like, "In person?" She's like, "Great, that's exactly." I was like, "Yeah, that's exactly what." So I think that the parents definitely wanted it, and you can see. I mean, the overwhelming majority of people want it to be in person. The problem is that, you have the big bureaucrats that are over it and forcing all of these rules. I mean, I just saw a picture of there, and apparently it was real. I don't know. You can never tell with social media, but they were these little pods. It was a band, and they were in these pods.
Yep.
And I'm like, have we gone insane?
Totally.
Like, I get it. Fine, social distancing within the band room, fine. But like, this is out of control.
Totally.
And nobody. The thing that just kept going through my head is nobody's thinking about the kids. It's this bigger scheme, and you can take this on any moral issue. You can take this on, even take it with divorce and remarriage, or just even divorce. Most of the times, the spouses are thinking about themselves and they're not thinking about the children. The child is always being pushed to the wayside within our current society, and it's because we don't see life as a gift, and therefore the dignity of human life just doesn't exist. And when that happens, you can do whatever you want, and it doesn't matter what the side effects are. It doesn't matter who's getting hurt. All that matters is up here, everything is just being followed according to plan, and everybody's lockstep with that. And so, yeah, in answer to your question, there was, within the parish, kids that went to Mandan High School, kids that went to the Mandan Middle School when they were virtual, and yeah, there were a lot of kids that were really suffering.
Yeah,
and at first it was all fun and games, right?
Right.
It was like,
it's like spring break.
yeah, we're like, we get time off for as long as we want, and then all of a sudden it was just kind of like you could see it just slowly, the decline starting to happen amongst children, even amongst parents.
Yes.
In society, and so that was a huge thing, and it just seemingly nobody was paying attention to that.
Wow.
I think it just kind of happened all the way down the line. I mean,
Right.
with the entire public, they just started conforming and started falling into line and did what the government was mandating.
We're from the government, and we're here to help.
That's the one.
Yep.
Right?
And I was hearing from the mental health community, especially the ones that work with kids, the influx and the overwhelming, they talked about we don't want to overwhelm the emergency rooms, but what we did to the mental health professionals with kids that needed help because of the depression, because of the anxiety, because of the loneliness, and when you think of all
Parents
those social
too.
skills that they get from school that they weren't getting because they were learning on some iPad
Or even
their
eating,
kitchen table.
getting a good meal. But speaking of the government, because I know it always goes so fast here, let's talk about Biden being a Catholic. Shall we?
You have a source.
It is because a lot of this is coming through that administration, more lockdowns, more everything, and like you said, the children are suffering. We're all suffering, but I think it's even more important to them because we get it. We're adults, but these kids, if they haven't, they're 13, 10, 8, whatever age they are, sometimes that's the only social interaction that they got. But, there's a lot going on right now about Biden being a Catholic.
And a good or a bad one.
Maybe he was a Catholic, but...
Well, here's the problem. He is a Catholic. I mean, we can't. He's baptized into the Catholic Church. He is part of the lay faithful. He's part of the Catholic Church. He's just not a good Catholic. So we don't have to sit back and say, no, he's not Catholic. He is. He's just not living the faith. And I think that, we just haven't had a lot of people say anything about that. In the past, when you have politicians that are saying, I'm Catholic, and then they're supporting everything that is anti-Christ, anti-church, and yet people keep running and saying, no, he's Catholic. And I've found, I've noticed this, and this happens a lot with the transgender culture, with the LGBTQ culture. The narrative has to keep running. You have to keep saying it, and you have to keep telling people it's the right and true, because if you don't, it will slowly fizzle out. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was Adolf Hitler of all people that said, if you want people to believe a lie, you just tell them over and over and over again, and you get really important people to tell them it's true. And and that's exactly what the media is doing. They keep running the narrative that he's a Catholic, he's a Catholic, he's a Catholic, and people really don't know any better because unfortunately our church is very poorly catechized because of the past 30 to 40 years. And so Catholicism is kind of whatever you make it. If you're baptized Catholic, you're Catholic, you can believe whatever you want.
Sure.
And finally, we're getting people that are, in the hierarchy that are stepping up and saying, it's not true.
We need that. I have a couple quotes I wanted to bring up regarding the different politicians with faith. Now it says, if Biden were a model Catholic, there would be no need to assure us that he is. Even his fans know he isn't. Otherwise, they wouldn't waste so much energy on the issue. I was saying earlier how it's like we just have to keep proving that he's a Catholic. It's like we've had other politicians. Mitt Romney was a Mormon. We didn't have like the whole society, oh my gosh, he's a Mormon. Don't forget he's a Mormon. Don't forget he's a Mormon. And then who was the...
Joe Lieberman.
Joe Lieberman was Jewish. And it's like, well, don't forget he's Jewish. It was never any of that. But here's another quote. It said, everyone knew that Senator Joe Lieberman was proudly Jewish, so there was no need to persuade the public of his religious status. Similarly, it is widely recognized that Senator Mitt Romney is a practicing Mormon, therefore making moot attempts to prove he is. President Biden is different. Not a day goes by without some commenters, usually left-wing Catholics, trying to convince the public that he is a model Catholic. And that's what it all boils down to. It's like, if he was a model Catholic, we wouldn't have to keep hearing about it every day.
And there wouldn't be priests that are saying, no, I don't think you should come for communion, and those kinds of things.
My brother, Father Justin Waltz, he up in Minot, he preached a homily that kind of went viral on this whole thing, and his big thing was he's like, he is a Catholic, and what we need to do is we need to stand up for what we believe in, and we need to pray for this man, because if Joe Biden converts and actually comes back and actually stands for what the Catholic Church believes in, could you imagine what that would do? I mean, it would rock the entire nation.
It sure
would.
And
then and then his point was, he's like, oh no, you don't believe that can happen. He's like, how about St. Paul? St. Paul was running the complete opposite direction of Jesus, and all of a sudden, boom, he converts, he comes to the faith. And he is the apostle to the Gentiles. Like, he converts half the world, if it wasn't for Paul's conversion. So I really encourage people to pray for that. That's a huge thing. But also to stand up and say, no, what he is supporting is not Catholic teaching. It's not, as far as Christianity is concerned, it would even fall short.
Yeah, it's not even about Catholics. It's about just being morally, correct.
Right.
Here's what I don't get. So all of a sudden, it's a big deal. Why is it so important whether Biden is Catholic or not? And why is it then, are we supposed to think now, all of a sudden, being Catholic is a good thing? But when it was Amy Coney Barrett, it was a bad thing. And when it was Nancy Pelosi going to visit the Pope, it was a good thing. Even though she was pro-abortion, but it was good. And it's like, it's so confusing. For people on the outside looking in, I think it hurts the whole piece of what's good and what's not, and what's this about, really?
One part of it is you're listening to the wrong voice. If you watch the news, you're going to believe Joe Biden's a good Catholic.
Yeah.
If you read what the Catholic Church teaches on all of the issues he has weighed in on, you're going to see he's a very bad Catholic.
Sure. Okay, well, we're going to have to take another quick break. We're going to watch these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck, and we'll be right back.
Howdy folks, it's a County Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you'll do for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay Boston breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous County Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon rattling pie with a comb roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the County Line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve. Through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Respect, innovation, trust, and excellence. These core values can be seen in every building built by Straightway Construction. In the community for over 15 years, Straightway Construction has become the premier construction company for commercial projects. From dirt to design and framing to finish, Straightway Construction is your #1 choice. You won't have to look far to find a project that has that Straightway touch. Call them today or go online to straightwayconstruction.com and let them make your vision a reality.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
When you can't find answers to your recurring health challenges, it can feel like your health and your future are being held hostage. The Wellness Way is a network of health restoration clinics that think and act differently to solve the health challenges others can't. Here, we disrupt the standard approach to care through a combination of testing, individual plans, and one-on-one guidance, putting your health and your future where they belong, in your own hands.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. We are so excited that Father Josh decided to stick around. And you know, you did mention your brother.
I did.
Father Justin Waltz. He is up in Minot. And you guys have that Sons of Thunder.
Yeah, we're making a comeback here soon. We're waiting on
I
trying to
love
develop our podcast.
There you go. But you can find them on, they have YouTube and all kinds of good things going on. But you know, we touched a little bit about Biden. Do you have some final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that, and I want to be clear with people that are watching that I'm not attacking the person of Joe Biden. I don't know who he is. I don't know his heart. I don't know, who's using him, how he's allowing himself to be used, what he's been through. But what I am saying is that his views are what we're attacking. His views are incorrect, and they stand in stark contrast to what the church teaches. And that you can never judge a man simply on action. That's what I'm saying. I was saying at the break, I said I could be at the liquor store and buying a really nice bottle of scotch, and one of my parishioners could see me and be like, oh, there goes Father, with his really nice bottle of scotch. They don't know that I'm buying that bottle of scotch to go have a drink with the guy on the corner, who's homeless and has no friends. So we can't sit there and say that he's a bad person, but we can sit back and say that action is a bad thing. Even as somebody might look at the bottle of scotch and say that action is a bad thing, we don't know long term what that's gonna bring. But we still have the right to judge actions and not the person.
Right, because he's all for the transgender. I mean, just so many of these things that just seem that they're trying to make normal that isn't normal. That's abnormal. That is pretending.
That's one of those repeating it over and over again until people start to accept it.
Exactly.
And that's what's happened with a lot of these things, I think.
They even asked Madonna that. I remember when Madonna kissed Britney Spears at the Video Music Awards, and they say, why did you do it? And she said, because if you do it enough and you show people it enough, they'll think it's normal.
Right, and then there's that song, I don't even know who sings it, but I kissed a girl and I liked it, and it tastes like cherry chapstick. And it's, I believe it was by Katy Perry.
Yeah.
It just came to my mind all of a sudden. But anyway, and it's like, and that made it normal because it was a nice, fun, hip song. But speaking of songs and the beats of songs, Cardi B has had the #1 song in the nation, and it is so horrible. Just the title of it, we can't even say the title on TV.
Or won't
For that matter. But if you want to know the #1 song in the nation by Cardi B, Google it. you will fall out of your chair. Now, here's the deal. There are children, 5-year-olds, that can sing the song. And it's like, I can't believe that we as a society allow this to happen. I'm not saying I'm a prude. Of all people, I'm not a prude. I don't think so. Here's the song. We're not going to play the words because the words are not, we can't, if we bleeped out all the bad words, all of the whole song would be beeped out. But this is what your kids are watching and thinking is normal and is right in America today.
And modeling.
And modeling.
You know, I mean, they have their people that they hold up on a pedestal. For some reason, we hold up these people on a pedestal. I don't know why. Probably because they have money and fame.
Rich and famous.
Which is what people want for some reason. When these people turn out to be the most unhappy people in the entire world.
Isn't that true?
But this is the model, and so when you go to dances, this is how they dance. This is how they act. This is the way they talk. It's all being modeled for them, and they're mirroring that back to the culture.
And we did that when we were younger too, but it was, I don't want to say back in the day. Yeah. But you know, Elvis.
We weren't swinging, we were swing dancing.
Oh, come on. Elvis came in and everybody had a fit because he moved his hips. Okay? I'm just saying, it's a lot more intense nowadays, and there's less control.
Though, I think the reason it is more intense is because they've really honed in, modern psychology has really honed in on the power that they can use the media to control.
Yes.
And that's what I mean, all of this is used to control how people think and how people act.
Okay, and I know we only have a short segment, so I want to play about a minute of this drag queen video. This is about bringing drag queens into your public libraries to read books to your toddlers. Take a look at this. Just a minute.
And then you just move your bum up and down like that, and that's twerking. What you need to do is you just stand with your feet sort of shoulder width apart, like so. Okay, and I'll show you at the side so you get a better view that way. And you crouch down into this sort of position here, so your bum's sticking out. Hope you're taking this all in. And then you just move your bum up and down like that, and that's twerking.
This is Drag Queen Story Hour. It's your class.
Isn't that something? I mean, it was 3 minutes long, and that's what's going on in America today, guys. And if we don't stand up to it, I mean, we're going to hell in a handbasket, and there's the basket right there. You know, we have to stand up to that. And I want to say BS. I would like to say the word, but I'll just shorten it to BS. It's BS.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, welcome to the third term of a certain president. I really believe that. I really believe that. I believe that's who's in control of Joe Biden. I believe that's who's in control of a lot of things, and somebody's in control of him. But when you look at all that and what it says, it was Fargo, North Dakota that a bunch of parents got notified that they were bringing a drag queen into Fargo for the kids, to give the kids more inclusiveness in thinking whatever it was they wanted them to think. It's like, how crazy. I want my state back. We don't think like that. We don't do things like that. What is going on?
Well, that's what even caught my mind. Like when we were showing the video, what I saw is not the drag queen crawling across the floor or whatever, but the dads all standing in the back clapping.
It's like, what's wrong with these
You're just
people?
like, what are you doing, man? Like,
children learn what they live, man. I mean, you present it to them, they're getting it.
Yeah.
They
I
absorb.
just looked the other day, a mom decided she needed to write a book because she had a baby daughter and she knew how to raise the daughter, but she didn't have a baby son until a couple of years later. And sure enough, she said, how do I raise my son? Because she wanted her daughter to know that, you know, she didn't have to stand for anything and, you know, take anything. But now her son, how do you raise a son? Never once did she mention, maybe the dad could write that book. How do you raise a son in today's world?
Right.
You know, the dads are just so left out of the conversation, and that's part of the plan. You got to destroy the family if you're going to destroy the country, because the whole country is built on family. And when our families are hurting like they're hurting, it just carries out into our whole society.
Right. And you know, talking about the library book hour and the song, there was that little screenshot there. It's like Dr. Seuss is being bad, but we're supposed to like accept Cardi B It's like,
No.
it is just, I don't even.
It's twisted.
It's twisted and sick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that. And it's like, yeah, if you have an opinion on it, email us or text us or, send us a letter. We'll take it and we'll read it on the air for you guys. We've got to stand up. We have got to stop this.
We don't have any lines in the sand anymore.
Right.
How do we draw them?
Because we got rid of real truth in the public square.
Aha.
And that was called 10 Commandments. That certain moral fiber that built this country, we've said, legally they have managed to just squelch so much of it from the public discourse, and it shows.
Well, the big thing for me is just natural law. There's just certain things, like you just can't, the murder of a baby, you can't, I don't know how humanity got off that track. It doesn't make any sense to me. There's certain things, the natural law of procreation. If procreation can't happen, something's wrong.
Yes.
Right? And so how did we miss that? And we've done it all in the name of compassion, which is a false compassion. It's this idea that you just got to let people do what they're doing, don't judge, and everybody just be kind. Well, that's not going to happen. We're not going to be kind to each other if everybody's doing their own thing, because when you're doing your own thing, I might not like it, but I just have to accept it, and you have to accept my own thing, and then all of a sudden you just have chaos in society, which is what we're beginning to, we're far past the beginning. We're seeing it really,
Absolutely.
It's exploding at this point.
So I heard your homily on Sunday, and it was about feelings and about how it's like, well, if you stand up to them, you're hurting their feelings. We have 30 seconds. Why don't you, your final thoughts in 30 seconds?
Well, part of the homily was, I said, well, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. They're like, well, my feelings are hurt. I believe it's between, two men or two women. And I'm like, well, then my feelings are hurt because you just overrode what I believe. Maybe I overrode what you believe. So let's have a real conversation. Let's not just say, oh, you're okay, I'm okay. Let's have a real conversation and see what's true, what's really true. The idea of objective truth is gone from society. Until we get it back, we're gone.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to have to tackle that subject again because there's so much more to say. Anyway, we're going to be right back after these messages on Ladies of Another View on Beck.
There's nothing more important than family. And at Prairie Rose Family Dentists, we get it. That's why we have more locations, more dentists, specialists, extended hours, pediatric clinics, and even emergency appointments, so you can always be seen. Book your appointment today at prairierosedentist.com. Prairie Rose Family Dentists. We are family.
Deciding how to promote your business can be hard. Visit the professionals at Dakota Promotions and Printing and let them help you through your struggle. Dakota Promotions provides promotional items and apparel, from corporate gifts to team shirts and everything in between. With quick turnaround times and friendly service, they are your best choice. And best yet, you're shopping local. Visit them online at dakotapromo.com or stop in their showroom at 320 West Main in Mandan. Dakota Promotions, delivering promotions just for you.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
40 years ago, Aero Service Team started with one truck and lots of hard work.
Times may have changed, but the hard work that we put in to get your lives back in order after fire, water, and disaster hasn't.
Over the years, we've seen so many families lose their belongings due to water and fire damage. Restoring homes back to the original state has made every hour of hard work well worth it.
Thank you for trusting our family with yours.
When disaster strikes, you only have to make one call. Aero Service Team does it all.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Coulter Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck. You know, he's been here. He was, Father Josh was a guest of ours the very first week we were on, I think. And it's just, he's so dynamic. And he's not pushing Catholicism on anybody. I just want to put that out there.
Right.
He thinks we should all get back to a little more Jesus.
Yes.
We really do, right?
Right.
And I mean, even now, like yesterday, we talked about Little House on the Prairie. They can't have those books anymore because they're racist. And he had a really good sermon on Sunday. It's like, you know what? We're so worried about the very small percentage, like 2, 3, 4% of the people that might be transgender or whatever that they're into, okay? And it's like, well, you hurt my feelings. Oh, you know, I can't bake a cake for you. Well, that hurts my feelings. Well, you know what? Your lifestyle hurts my feelings. It is time for the majority to speak up. We cannot sit here and just sit back and let this take over our society. We cannot let Cardi B be put on a pedestal. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
The silent majority has to not be a silent one.
That's right. We need to speak up.
When you think of what's in our textbooks when it comes to the health curriculum, which I think is one of the most evil curriculums I've ever seen for the last 15 years, and what it's done. But anyway, when you look at why are kids so confused today? You didn't used to have this much of a big thing with, you know, LGBTQ issues with kids. And it's everywhere. It's just being thrown at them from every level, right down to now the books they read to the drag queens that are reading drag queen stories to kids.
Well,
in
that
the library.
one, there was on social media, there was a mother reading to her 2 or 3-year-old, instead of the ABCs, it was the gay BCs.
Come on.
Now, why would you do that? Okay, say you do have a gay child, I get it. That they're there. I understand that. I have gay friends. I understand it. But why would you indoctrinate them or teach them at a low level, like 2, 3 years old, and think that it's normal, or try to convince them that this is normal?
Because that is the whole point of the exercise. Everything needs to be normal. And in a world gone crazy, the unnormal or abnormal is normal. And I just feel like that's where we're living. And I just believe, if you want to get back to Joe Biden for just a second here, I think when I looked at the whole article that I was reading about Joe Biden, and Catholicism and what he's Catholic, he's Catholic, he's Catholic. All I could think of was, and now evil has graduated into the Catholic Church, and it's going to divide and conquer within the Catholic Church. And they're publicizing big time through the press, they're the water bearers of the division in the Catholic Church. And let's destroy that. That's our next thing. We've got the schools, we've got the government, I mean, the list goes on. So it's the next big power play for evil as far as I'm concerned.
And the media is right there to suck it all up and spit it all out at you.
Yep, they're saying, what can we say next? We're ready.
Yep,
right.
Yeah. Got it going on.
So the bad thing, or the worst thing that any of us can do is for good people to sit back and not say anything. So we're not saying, you know, protest to the lengths of burning down buildings and smashing cars, that type of protesting, but you have to speak up to your legislators. It starts at the local level. It starts at your school board, and then your county, and then your state, and you keep moving up.
And just start in our own families.
Just start learning what district you're in. I mean, I'm just floored that people don't even know what voting district they're in. They just go into their booth and check their boxes. They don't even know who their representatives are. And that's a crisis.
But let's, you know, we only have a couple minutes left. Why don't we talk a little bit about what was your favorite book? I mean, it certainly wasn't read to you by a drag queen, I'm guessing.
It was not.
But just talk a little bit about growing up. What was a favorite show or a favorite book?
I would say that any book that I can read to my grandchildren is a favorite book, because then I get to spend time with them and I have the opportunity to influence them in a positive way.
Yeah. And I remember One Fish, Two Fish,
Red fish, blue fish.
Oh gosh, now we're talking about colored fish.
I mean, I did it with my kids, and I would get all hung up on my tongue twister stuff, and we'd laugh, and we'd laugh, and with every kid. And if we have time, I'll talk about the Three Pigs and how it was revised in 2010, but I won't go there right
Wow, yes, I know that was a big deal, but you know, I enjoyed fairy tales, that type of stuff, and now they're trying to, you know, cancel some fairy tales that they're not appropriate.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what's a fairy?
Yeah. Then there's that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I remember on black and white TV, when Little House on the Prairie came, I used to read those books in school. I mean, we would fight over checking out Little House on the Prairie books from our local library.
Yeah.
And then when it came on TV, and I can remember sitting in front of this one credenza that we had, this old antique, and I tried to say it word by word, and then I realized that the book is not like the movie. It is not. But anyway, I was annoying my 4 older sisters and my younger brother because I knew everything there was about Little House on the Prairie.
Oh my gosh.
I know summer reading contests, we used to have to go get chapter books from the library. During the summer, we'd get points for reading extra.
Sure.
I always used to get all of the, who had the push me pull yous? I was going to say Willy Wonka, and that's not the right thing.
I don't know that.
Shoot.
You're going to have to bring that with us.
I'm going to find those
Next
books.
week.
I'm going to bring them.
Absolutely.
Because they were great stories about imaginary animals.
Sure.
Right.
Carmen, do you have a final?
A final thought. I get to take dinner into my mom tonight and in her apartment, and we get to eat together.
Oh,
Yay!
Yes.
Great.
And she's 95 now. We're going to eat Mexican, and it's going to be good.
All right. Well, excuse me. I'm carboned up again. Anyway, I don't know why that happens. We're at the end of our show today. We appreciate you guys all hanging out with us and tuning in with us. And we'll be back again tomorrow with Ladies of Another View on Beck. Now go fight for what's right.